Hi, so today I want to give you more example or exercise on how to factor the special product. So how many special product? We have this the differences of square, which is a squared minus b squared equals to, when we factor it, we have a plus b times a minus b. And then we have, and also you will see a trinomial like a squared plus 2 times ab plus b squared equals to a plus b squared. So, or they might have subtraction. A squared minus 2ab plus b squared equals to a minus b squared. Okay, so be careful. These two is different. One is a squared minus b squared. The other one is a minus b and then square. The order is different. Okay, and then we also have the trinomial, which is a to the cube minus the difference, no, I'm not sorry, not trinomial, the difference of the cube. So a to the cube minus b to the cube, we have a, b, and then a squared, ab, and b squared, and then followed by the soup. What's soup? Same symbol, which is subtract, opposite, which is plus, and always positive. And then subtraction is the same. Okay, so here are some examples, such as we have 18a squared minus 50b squared. So when you try to do this one, the first thing, you always not trying to find the special product, it's trying to factor the common factor out. So 18 and the 15, they have a common factor of what? 2. So we factor the 2 out, we have 9a squared minus 25b squared. Okay, you see a squared, b squared. So we know that, and then there's a subtraction. So we can use what? The differences of the square. Okay, so that means we need to write this as something square. So with 9a, we can write it as what? 3a squared, subtract 25, we can write it as 5 times b squared. Okay, so now we just need to follow. A squared minus b squared equals to a plus b times a minus b. So we have 2 times the whole thing, 3a minus 5b times 3a plus 5b. That's how you factor it. Or sometimes you see those fourth, okay, you may confuse, such as a fourth subtract 1. So that's the tricky part. So you need to remember a to any power, a to the nth power always equals to 1. So that means a, we can write it as what? A to the fourth minus a to the fourth. Why are we trying to construct that? Because we can write a to the fourth as a to the square minus 1 square to the square. So that, hey, we have differences and then square. So that means we have a squared minus 1 square times a squared plus 1 square. Okay, we don't have the sum of the square, right? We don't have that special product. So this is the simplest form. But here, you can continue to factor it as a plus 1 times a minus 1, and then times a squared plus 1 squared, which is 1. Okay, and then you might also see 25p squared minus 10p plus 1. Here's another example, number 3. So this has 3 terms, so we know that it has to be So if you see 3 terms, the first thing you should try is, okay, factor the common factor is always the first thing. Since we have 25, 10, and 1, these are relatively prime. So that means these are already the simplest form. So we can factor anything out. So since 3 terms, we're looking for something look like what? Since this is subtraction, it has to be a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So now take a look. 1 is our b squared. 10p is our 2ab. So a squared is equal to 25p squared. So first of all, we will write 25 as 5p squared. And 10, we can write as what? 2 times 5 and p times 1. Because our 2 is the 2, right? A equals to 5p. 1 is our b at 1 squared. So that means our a and b is what? 5p minus 1 squared. So that's how you factor it. Okay, now let's try another one. What about 20x squared plus 20xy plus y squared? Again, the first step is always trying to factor the common factor. In this case, the common factor would be 5. So when we factor the 5 out, we have 4x squared plus 4xy plus y squared. Okay. So the term is what? A squared plus 2ab plus b squared equals to a plus b. So now we need to find out a and b. B is our y, right? Quite straightforward. So a is what? A is 4x squared. So that means we need to write it as what? 2x and then square. So which means our a is 2x. So now when we separate the 4xy, we can write it as what? 2 times 2x times y. So we have our a equals to 2x, b equals to y. Okay, so that means this one I can factor as what? 2x plus y squared. Because we found our a and b. Okay, so the next one is, let's try something hard. So what about x cubed minus 216? Okay, so we saw the cube. We know that's the differences of cube. So that means we want something look like this, as long if we can find our a and b. Same, opposite, always positive. Okay, so what will be our a? A is our x, really straightforward. So now 216 is going to be our b to the cube, but we need to find our b. How can we write this as b to the cube? Well, let's think about it. What about 6 to the cube? 6 to the cube equals to what? I don't know. Let's calculate it. So we have 6 squared times 6 is equal to 6 cubed, right? So 6 squared is 36 times 6. So let's calculate it. Because you're not the only one. Sometimes I don't remember things like that too. So 216. So that means 6 to the cube equals to 216. Okay, so yes, this is 6 to the cube. So that means we can write it as x to the cube minus 6 to the cube. Now it's easy. So we have an x and a 6, and then x squared, 6x, and then 6 squared, which is 36. The same, opposite, always positive. Done. Let me know if you have any question about this chapter.